Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Divorce Happens, the podcast where we support you before, during, and after divorce with education, inspiration, a little bit of laughter, because as you know, divorce happens and then you start fresh. And we're here with one of my favorite humans, Julie Costa, who is a fresh starts expert and one of my personal mentors. Julie, can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Hello, I'm excited to be here. I'm a certified master clinical hypnotherapist. I'm a trainer. I'm basically, in a nutshell, what I like to say to kind of sum that up is I help people achieve their goals and like what they're going through a lot quicker and faster with hypnosis, subconscious reprogramming, and then I also teach, train, and certify others in this work as well.
You do a lot of everything, and I'm trained under Julie, which I love to tell everybody. So I have my degree up on my wall. So, Julie, before we get into it about how subconscious work can heal you, help to heal you after divorce, a lot of people may not even understand what the subconscious is or
100%.
like why it will be a part of their divorce journey.
Yes, I can explain the subconscious. So, in a nutshell, we have two parts of our mind, the conscious part of our mind. You can kind of consider that the part that almost feels like it's running the show all day long, right? It's like overthinking, overanalyzing, like all the things. We're making decisions based off of
Mm-hmm.
that. It always feels like we're in it. And then we also have the subconscious part of our mind, which is the part that's just like outside of our conscious awareness. So if you kind of view like an iceberg, that top part of the iceberg, what you see, that's your conscious mind, the part of the mind we think we're working with, the part of the mind we use when we're reading books, listening to podcasts. And then we have the bottom part of the iceberg that's kind of hidden. That's your subconscious. And it actually rules and governs 95% of our mind. So it's actually quite a lot. And not many of us are getting into there. And why it's quite important to do so is because it does house all of our like beliefs,
Yeah.
values, thoughts, behavior patterns. And so when we can start to work with the subconscious with the conscious part of our mind, that's when you can see shifts a lot quicker and faster.
Absolutely. And it's such an untapped resource in the
Yes.
healing journey for sure. So, if somebody's going through a divorce, what things might come up from their subconscious that would kind of affect their divorce journey healing process?
Yeah. So I like to share like what a lot of clients come to me for. There's like a presenting problem, right? They're coming to me for XYZ. That's never the real problem. There's something
Hmm.
underneath the surface that's causing this problem that's like a behavior or a symptom. And so when people are going through divorce, I would imagine, there's a lot of emotions, there are things that are coming up and underneath the surface, what we're typically not aware of because it's just like living in our subconscious and we got to unpack it. The most common beliefs that run our show, the like, "I'm not good enough," right? Like, "I'm
Mm.
not deserving, I'm not lovable." Those are running our show, and therefore, they're presenting problems that people then want to work through. So, those can certainly come up a lot when going through a process or a challenging time like that.
And how can those subconscious thoughts affect the way you make decisions?
Yeah, so everything stems from your beliefs. So for example, if you do have a belief running your show such as that I'm not good enough, we'll go with that. The belief then dictates the thoughts you have. So think about okay, if we are having this belief of I'm not good enough, we're most likely going to have thoughts of like, man, I just like can't do anything or like I can't be like that person or I can't have that successful marriage and it can't look like that. I'm never going to find my
Yeah.
partner, right? Like those thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And then those thoughts are gonna then dictate, like, the actions that we end
Mm.
up or I should say the behaviors that we do, and then
Right.
those behaviors are then gonna impact the actions we take, or inactions we don't
Yeah.
take,
Right.
and then our results. So, like, a behavior could look like, well, if we're having those thoughts, the behavior could be like, "Okay, well, maybe we're just gonna be like a hermit, and we
Right.
don't wanna see anybody," right? Because we're thinking, "Nobody wants to be with me, nobody likes me, I'm just not good enough."
Mm-hmm.
And then that behavior is ultimately not gonna enable us to, like, go out there and find that perfect partner
Right.
eventually or whatever it is. So
Right.
it, like, it
Right.
all stems with your beliefs and then trickles down into the actions that we're actually getting.
Right. So if, for example, your like belief is like I don't have a voice, like nobody listens to me, then
Yes.
if you're dealing with your divorce lawyer, that's going to affect the decisions that you make, right? So
Mhm.
that being said, is there a way to repattern yourself, Julie?
Yes, 100%. I always say, like, that's the good news is there's always a possibility that you that you can do that. That is the work that I do with clients and, many other hypnotherapists as well, is we get into like what that root is. Because we may not
Mm,
know what that core limiting belief is, but we just know how it's presenting itself in
right.
our lives, right?
Mhm.
So we can, through a variety of sessions and through a couple of different modalities, including hypnosis, which actually doesn't take a very long time. Like that's the beauty of this work is subconscious work does not take a long time.
No, I love and hypnosis you can listen to before you go to sleep, and it's just like a really, really wonderful part of your self-care package that you can put together.
Yes.
So that being said, Julie, how do you work with clients? What does that look like to do a session with you?
Yeah, typically I work with clients in a 6 session package, or actually starting in 2025, I'm going to be condensing it actually into like a full day or 2 half days
Ooh.
because there are people who want results quicker, right?
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
I wanna provide that opportunity, and so my whole process is kind of like a dig in, just get some context, we don't have to relive anything, but
Yep.
get context, so I have an understanding and unpack, like, what that core limiting belief is,
Yep.
and then I really do believe in, like, a release before we can reprogram, because there's stuff that's been
Mm.
there years, if not decades, so
Mhm.
we wanna, like,
Mhm.
release and shift and move some stuff in order to make way for the reprogramming. And I typically do that over the course of 6 sessions. And if that does feel too long for someone, then we can condense it down to 2 days or one full day
That is
of
really
healing.
cool. Definitely. And what a great gift that would be to somebody, right? Going
Yes.
through a divorce, like your sister, your best friend, and be like, here, go do some sessions with Julie. And you can, of course, find Julie at Fresh Starts Registry in the expert guide, and all of her info will be in the show notes. Julie, before we let you go, if somebody's listening to this episode and they're going through a divorce or considering a divorce, what would be some words of encouragement that you could leave them with?
Yeah, I think my biggest piece of advice is to, as much as you can, tune out the external noise because there's a lot of noise and information we're all consuming. And the more you can tune that out to actually tune in with yourself and like just doing some check ins of like, what is it that I do really want?
Yeah.
That is going to help you so much. And ways to do that could be simply like if you go for walks, maybe you're not listening to anything and it's just nature, right? Like it's just a great
Mm,
way to connect with your own thoughts. So I think the more you can tune out external noise and opinions of others and
mm-hmm.
consuming content and information and just giving yourself and providing yourself like a time and space in a day when you can connect with your own thoughts, I think that'd be really beneficial.
I love that. I love, like, scheduling some time to just have your own thoughts, right? We all need that, and
We need that.
especially we need that, and during divorce, you definitely wanna tune out as much external noise. Well,
Mhm.
Julie, we appreciate you, and if you're interested in hypnosis or learning more, Julie has so much information on her social media, her website, so go give her a follow and go check her out. Thank you so much, Julie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.